Hello everyone, I'm Babli Jonathan and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In our lone top story, the students abducted by unidentified gunmen at Presbyterian Secondary School Quen in the northwest regional capital Bamenda have been set free, but 4 of the persons abducted are still missing. Their whereabouts remains unknown. They were found in those who have been set free were found in Bafut and brought back to Bamenda, accompanied by Northwest Governor Adolphe Lily Lafrique. Stay with us. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the Primetime News on Equinoxe Television. The close to 80 students of Presbyterian Secondary School, Bafut Presbyterian Secondary School in Quen, in the Bamenda 3 subdivision, who were abducted by unidentified gunmen, have been set free. They were found in Bafut and brought back to the regional capital Bamenda, accompanied by elements of the National Armed Forces and the Northwest Governor Adolphe Lily Lafrique. But 4 of those who were abducted by unidentified gunmen are still missing. It should be noted that the government of the Republic of Cameroon has pointed an accusing finger on pro-independence fighters, saying that they abducted the students of Presbyterian Secondary School Quen in the Bamenda 3 subdivision. But the separatists on their part issued a communique saying that they had nothing to do with the abduction of the students of Presbyterian Secondary School Quen. Now, greater details in this extract of the Northwest Governor Adolphe Lily Lafrique, who spoke to a correspondent in Bamenda and Buxtelas shortly after receiving the abducted and, of course, freed students of Presbyterian Secondary School Bafut at his office at Upstation in Bamenda. Take a listen.
That made it possible for us today to be visiting our missing student. Thanks to the professionalism in which the issue were handled by both the education family, the security services, the intelligence services, the administrative authority of schools, and the population. It thanks to the collaboration of all the stakeholders that we are here together celebrating the coming back to us of our children. The meeting I was supposed to chair have been given a new dimension that do not allow us to hold it like it was previewed. Just as a result of the good news of early this morning, we are just going to end up with this communication, free the children to go back, and later on we'll have a good consultation, discussion with the various scholars that are present here today to arrive at a general option to fight against the problems that are rocking our region, our divisions. And it is coming timely after the address of the head of state. He was sworn in yesterday, and he makes some pronouncement, not only concerning the affairs of the nation, but mainly concerning the problems that are rocking our 2 regions. Recognizing that, yes, there is a problem, drawing a plan to solve the problem, sending a message to the young of this region to drop down their guns, to come back to normal civil life, and he had given instruction
Northwest Governor Adolphe Lafrique speaking there to our Northwest correspondent Stella shortly after the abducted pupils, or rather students, of Presbyterian Secondary School PSS Quen in the Bamenda 3 subdivision were set free, and investigations are still on course to track down the whereabouts of 4 of the abducted persons who remain missing, and of course to unveil the faces of those behind the kidnapping. It should be indicated here that the government has said the students were kidnapped by pro-independence fighters, but the separatists have rejected that allegation, saying in a communique that they have nothing to do with the abduction of those they are fighting to protect. And as a result of the deepening crisis rocking the two Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon, some contractors have abandoned ongoing works that they had been executing in some parts of the region, and administrative authorities are now urging them to return and finish with the construction works that they were in charge of carrying on in some parts of the region. Franklin Mwabe reports.
1 month to the end of the 2018 budgetary year, public projects in Bui division of the Northwest region have been abandoned. The construction of the Bamkike-Mbiam stretch of road, electrification of nearby villages, and the incomplete execution of bridges were the major topic of discussion during a follow-up committee meeting to evaluate the level of execution of the 2018 public investment projects in Bui division. Many stakeholders and workers of the construction site who abandoned the work blame the situation on the persistent insecurity rocking the region due to the Anglophone crisis. The senior divisional officer of Bui division lashed out on the contractors, warning them that if the projects are not completed before the end of the public investment budgetary year, the contractors will be charged to court. As of now, it is only a miracle that can save the contractors, as the execution rate stands at 45%, with many of the construction workers gone few months to the end of the 2018 budgetary year.
Get us open ahead to see if you know.
Franklin Mwabe reporting there on the impact of the Anglophone crisis on construction works that have come to a halt in some parts of the Northwest region, especially in the Bui division. And of course, the senior divisional officer has now given an injunction urging the contractors to return and finish up with the construction works. But the question is, how are they going to return and carry on with the construction works in the present atmosphere marked by insecurity, gun battles, killings and abductions of persons in several parts of the two Anglophone regions of the country? And now we talk about yesterday's inaugural speech of the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, who addressed the nation shortly after pronouncing the phrase, "I do so swear." That is the oath-taking ceremony that took place yesterday at the Hemicycle in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. And shortly after that ceremony, we caught up with a political scientist and former Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Professor Elvis Ngolengola, and this is what he said, his reaction, his analysis of President Paul Biya's speech. He begins by explaining the importance of the swearing-in ceremony.
The ceremony of today was a constitutional or legal requirement. As a matter of legality and legitimacy, the President had to take the oath of office as the President-elect of the Republic of Cameroon. And by that act of taking the oath of office, the President has demonstrated again, as he has done before, that he respects the Republic, he believes in the Republic, and appreciates the people of Cameroon, and has shown his gratitude to the people of Cameroon for having elected him or for having chosen him. And this is what the people expect in a republic of their leader. The leader who acknowledges, who respects them, respects the institutions of the republic, respects the values, and in his speech, as he said, beginning with the "I do so swear," he committed himself to respecting the Constitution, upholding the Constitution, making sure that he protects the peace, the unity, the integrity of the Republic. From the standpoint of content analysis, what you saw in the inaugural speech was that the president committed himself to making sure that he met the expectations of the people in all aspects of national life. And the president even went further by calling on the youth in a solemn manner. You remember the statement in the speech that the Cameroun of tomorrow will be constructed with the youths of Cameroon. That's a powerful and solemn appeal to the youth of Cameroon. And he went further by specifically talking about the situation in the Northwest and Southwest region by clearly showing that the president showed that he was aware, he acknowledged that he was aware that the people of the Northwest and Southwest problems wanted peace, they wanted things to be correct, they wanted to be able to manage their local affairs the way that they would feel happy with, and the president was willing, he showed he was willing to make sure that he met these expectations of the people of the Northwest and Southwest. It tells you that the president listens to people. The president appreciates the people. The president wants the people of the Northwest and Southwest to know that he is with them, he hears them, he has heard them, and is willing to work with them. And the president further said that those young men and women who have taken up arms against the Republic, they don't have to do that. The president made a solemn appeal to these young men who have taken up arms to put down or to lay down their arms and come back to the fold and join him as youth, so that together with him they can build this Cameroon of tomorrow, which the president believes this Cameroon of tomorrow cannot be built without the youth. It can only be built with the youth. So you can see the president showed openness to the people of the Northwest and Southwest. The president showed his willingness and his inclusiveness as far as the people of Northwest and Southwest are concerned. And the president showed his willingness to work with the youths of Cameroon in general and the youths of the Northwest and Southwest in particular. Therefore, I'm hoping the message has passed that the president has showed Republican magnanimity, Republican openness, Republican inclusiveness, Republican civility, Republican tolerance, and I hope that the people of the Northwest and Southwest will understand that the president has the people of Northwest and Southwest at heart. The president believes that the people of Northwest and Southwest are citizens of this republic who also want peace, who want unity, and who want to be able to manage local affairs. The president is willing to work with them. And the president wants the Northwest and Southwest young people who have taken up arms to know that he has not closed the door on them. He has said they should lay down their arms and come to the fold. Let them come and join him in building this better Cameroon of tomorrow.
In the same vein, Equinoxe spoke to two legal minds, Barrister Achu Julius and Barrister Ashu Emmanuel, who expressed contradictory views concerning the President of the Republic's inaugural speech. He compiled their views on that speech in the following report.
One of the most important declarations retained by most Anglophones in Paul Biya's speech, few minutes after he took oath into office, is the call for pro-independent fighters in Anglophone Cameroon to lay down their arms and join other compatriots to build the Republic.
Je leur lance un appel à déposer les armes et à retrouver le droit chemin.
Some of them, like Barrister Ashu Emmanuel and Barrister Achu Julius, have reacted differently on this.
In a speech like this, you don't need to say everything, because the mere fact that he has asked that they should put down their arms goes without saying that he is ready to talk, because you cannot talk with somebody that has arms. You cannot come to the table to tell somebody puts his gun and you still continue talking. It doesn't make sense. So he has asked them that, please drop your arms. Because if you don't drop your arms, we are now still going to stay in illegality. This is an era of reconciliation.
A view not shared by Barrister Ashu Emmanuel Agbo.
You cannot ask people to drop their weapons when you declare the war and you have not called off the war. So if he were to call off the war and ask the secessionists to drop their weapons, we can understand that. Yes, the environment is enabling for there to be a ceasefire and peace. But he is not doing so. He's instead threatening. I think the head of state and his government should realize that the military option does not work. And it is not workable because those boys who were using Dane guns 2 years ago are now using AK-47.
While many believe decentralization process has failed in Cameroon and has been one of the major causes of the Anglophone crisis tearing Cameroon apart, Barrister Acho Julius believes the country has entered into a new era with a wind of change to blow across the 10 regions.
We've turned a new page. We have now to go to work. Let's give it a chance to see the acts of what it's going to do in due course. The government will be there to do checks and balances, to make sure things don't go out of hand. That is all. I see there's going to be serious decentralization, which would some sort of sort out some of the problems that cause people to be angry, up to the extent of wanting a secession.
Barrister Ashu Emmanuel Agbo criticizes the form of decentralization chosen by government, which is contrary to that provided by the Constitution of Cameroon, a choice which to him has put the nation on fire.
Accelerating decentralization is not a solution because the form of decentralization he has chosen is not what the Constitution has provided for. In fact, I see it as a matter of political will. If you wanted to apply the decentralization provided by the Constitution, this matter would have been long over. We have asked him to do away with the government delegates. That is not done. To allow the mayors exercise full power, full authority. That is not done because the system of government he has put in place relies on taking away powers from those authorities.
Though both individuals might be having contrasting opinions about the head of state's inaugural declaration, they both brandished dialogue and pray for it to be granted pride of place, with a soft heart and goodwill for peace to return and the opportunity seized for the modernization of Cameroon.
And Barrister Ashu Emmanuel, speaking to Innocent Azi, equally went further to elaborate on the economic and social impact of the Anglophone crisis that has continued deepening for more than 2 years today, leaving several villages deserted, several houses burnt down, persons killed, and of course enterprises crumbled. And the barrister at law indicated that the crisis will extend and affect the entire nation if an inclusive and meaningful dialogue is not engaged by government. Take a listen to Barrister Ashu Emmanuel.
I think that in the interest of the whole nation, this crisis is long overdue. It has gone too far, and is affecting the entire nation. The economy of Cameroon is suffering. CDC and PAMOL are on their knees. The unemployment is skyrocketing. And I think that it is high time that something be done to bring this country back on its rails. And the only thing that can be done at this juncture is to organize an inclusive national dialogue, wherein all Cameroonians will put their hands on deck, and we shall together decide which way we want our country to go. And we think that if this country has to go forward, which is our wish, then it is high time that Mr. President should take note that the Anglophone crisis has gone beyond the Anglophone regions. The entire Cameroon nation is suffering, and our economy is also suffering, and we want peace back in that region so that all of us can start enjoying peace before the African Nations Cup arrives.
Our Southwest correspondent Derek Jato equally gathered some reactions to the president's inaugural speech in the regional capital, Boya. He compiled this report.
November 6, 2018. Cameroon new president is addressing the nation just after being sworn in. And everyone in the Southwest region is keen on how President Paul Biya will touch on the Anglophone crisis that is taking lives in the two Anglophone regions. The president promised that calm will return in these two conflict-hit regions. The process of decentralization will be speedy, and to the Ambazonians defense forces, they should put down their arms and come out of the bushes. At his residence, Southwest, Mr. Bernard Okaliabila invited his close collaborators to celebrate the swearing-in of the new president. Most of them here were present 2 years ago when the escalation phase of this Anglophone crisis was brought and hatched. a crisis critics say is today flying beyond the reach of those who even incubated it. Governor Bernard Okalia-Bilai will encourage those in the bushes to respect the call of President Paul Biya and come out.
My message after the head of state speech is to invite the population, particularly the youth who are still hiding themselves in the bushes, those who have been misled or forced to be enrolled in the group of terrorists. Let them come back, join the normal life, to seize the opportunities of their land, the land of the Southwest region.
And these are the victims.
As the situation there like this, we will not come back for village because we will not get place to stay for village. We the managers must not for bush.
We cannot come back because our homes were burnt down and we don't have a place to stay. This man says.
Nothing no remain. And the outside will sleep now. Me I didn't for bush. Now the problem bring me here for council. They say me come for council. They want help me.
I came out just because of the relief aid we learned the Buya Council is distributing today. And from here, I am going back to the bush. Such stories are familiar here among these people. This 52-year-old father of 4 also brought with him pictures of a place he once called home. This is where my 4-room house was constructed, he pointed. And I have been living here for the past 45 years, and today it is gone. In their 100, and on the invitation of the mayor of Buya, stories of these internally displaced persons, critics say paint a true picture of a people that have paid the price of a war, a child whose parents are missing, orphans, widows, the fractured, and the amputated. All because of the Anglophone crisis. Mayor Ekema Patrick Esunge, the mayor of the Buya Council, will let us step out and tell them that President Paul Biya is having good thought about them and their situation.
The President of the Republic sent to us his representative in this community a very good help of materials, relief materials, as well as durable materials to sustain lives of our brothers and sisters who probably would have been touched in one way or the other.
The crisis is 2 years plus now, and even this day of the swearing in of the new president, gunshots were still heard again in Buya, the Southwest regional capital.
This is my plea. The Bible says in 2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 14, it says, when my people humble themselves and they pray and they come together and repent, I will hear from heaven and I will heal their land. This land of Buya needs to be healed. The people need to come back.
And the people of Gazawa subdivision in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon speaking to Equinoxe television shortly after the swearing in ceremony of President Paul Biya called on the head of state to do everything possible to improve on their living conditions by providing technical and material help to the poor farmers in the region. For me, Armstrong Sanda reports.
Gazawa subdivision voted President Paul Biya with 92.17% during the October 7 presidential election. After his victory and oath-taking ceremony, Gazawa CPD and party supporters and those of Bogo subdivision in the Diamare division, far north region of the country, gathered to celebrate the start of his new mandate. After sending President Paul Biya up the ladder, Gazawa militants say they expect to eat good fruits from their champion. They expressed the wish that the president, their champion, invest more in agriculture, which is the main source of livelihood to the population of the subdivision. To maximize agricultural output and consequently increase income, elites of Gazawa say the president should help in building the capacity of farmers and provide necessary tools for a better agricultural practice. Some elites talk about the improvement of the production of onion, which is increasingly becoming scarce and expensive in Gazawa subdivision. Just like the population of Gazawa subdivision, most Cameroonians are looking up to President Paul Biya for a practical amelioration of their living conditions as he drives Cameroon along the 7-year mandate.
And in a similar story, the people of Bangwa in the Nde Division West region of the country call on the head of state after taking the oath of service to do everything possible to raise the village to a subdivision. This, they believe, will help in development efforts to take the village out of enclavement. Details with for me, Armstrong Sander once more.
Militants and sympathizers of the CPDM party in Bangwa, Nde division of the West region of Cameroon, did not miss out on the oath-taking ceremony of President Paul Biya. Gathered at the village square, the population followed the ceremony with a couple of problems which they expect the new old president to tackle. The state of Bangwa's main market is miserable and begging for infrastructure as it is a spot where local farmers sell their produce.
Les Bangwa ont demandé l'arrondissement.
According to this Bangwa man, the cry of Bangwa sons and daughters is for the village to be erected into a subdivision, a thing they believe will command development to Bangwa. Bangwa's problems include potable water, poor road network, the absence of health facilities and other social amenities. The stretch of road linking Bangante and Bafoussam through Bangwa is paralyzed by potholes. Bangwa, which prides itself as the second largest village of Nde North, demands a proportionate share of the Bangante Municipal Council cake. Over and above all, Bangwa sons and daughters strongly believe that the raising of their village into a subdivision is the best offer they can receive from President Paul Biya. President Paul Biya has started his new 7-year mandate, and the attention of the population of Bangwa is fixed on him.
And the international community is putting in some help to assist the Bilingualism and Multiculturalism Commission to fulfill its missions, notably with regards to the crisis in the two Anglophone regions of the country. A German delegation paid a visit to the headquarters of the National Commission on Bilingualism and Multiculturalism with focus on resolving the Anglophone crisis, or helping that commission to resolve that crisis, as Franklin Mwabe reports.
Can the National Commission for Bilingualism and Multiculturalism copy the example of Germany to resolve the Anglophone crisis? A delegation of the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs paid a visit to the headquarters of the National Commission for Bilingualism and Multiculturalism. The main point of focus during the meeting was on the Anglophone crisis.
We have discussed the question of the Anglophone issue in length, suggestions on how we can maybe proceed together in seeing a solution based on dialogue and political. And there's a lot of willingness on his side, certainly, to listen to us.
If the head of the German delegation recognized the willingness of the National Commission for Bilingualism and Multiculturalism to solve the crisis, then Germany will offer Cameroon some opportunities. Speaking of Germany, the country is divided into 16 landers, which are states, and each state has got its own constitution, an elected assembly, and a government, while all of them come under the federal government based in Berlin. During the president's swearing-in ceremony, President Paul Biya evoked the idea of giving more autonomy to the 10 regions of Cameroon. If the president keeps to his words, then Cameroon will look more like Germany in its administration.
poor health services remains a major problem in the Republic of Cameroon in the health amenities across the country, including public hospitals, where patients have often than not complained of poor treatment when they arrive at the different health amenities, and some persons have allegedly died in recent times in hospitals across the country because of poor treatment. And it is against this backdrop that the Lakentini Hospital here in Douala is stepping up efforts to improve on health services in that amenity, and it is for this purpose that doctors of that hospital met today here in Douala within the context of the scientific days of the Douala Lakentini Hospital to discuss strategies and of course how to boost health services in that hospital. And this is coming at a time when complaints have continued streaming in as a result of poor health care in health amenities across the country. The scientific days of the Lakentini Hospital will end tomorrow, and this is where we put an end to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.